think the honorable thing for our species to do is deny our programming. Stop reproducing. Walk hand in hand into extinction. One last midnight, brothers and sisters opting out of a raw deal.
Do not trust any friends or family members. I repeat, do not trust friends.
I don't think there's anything new to say. What I wanted to say is
there's nothing new to say.
Yeah, I'm officially shutting down the War Journal. Maybe I'll revive it at some point in the future, but I've just lost interest in the subject of Punisher comics and its prehistory, et cetera, et cetera. And I'm moving on to other things and
bigger and better things. Is this an official Extinction Agenda fucking announcement?
Yeah, announcement. So thanks to anyone who listened, et cetera, et cetera. You know, it was a lot of fun to do, but yeah, I just can't keep doing it. There's the juice ain't worth the squeeze anymore.
Oof.
Yeah.
Wow. Dark times.
Moved on to other subjects. So, But there were some people listening, and if they're listening here right now, thank you for doing so. And I'm sorry. We're still going to talk about Punisher and the Extinction Agenda, though.
Probably more often than you like.
Well, especially now. Like one of the reasons we haven't covered a lot of Punisher comics is because I felt it was like it's just too much, right? Like doing it in both podcasts, but I would like to make more visits into the world of the Punisher. Dip into all the various runs and stuff. I think that would scratch an itch that I still have. So.
Yeah, well, everybody has a fucking itch for if you don't have an itch for the Punisher, what do you
What are you listening to us for one?
Yeah. One other nice thing about the Punisher is he's on the right side of history. Do you know what I mean?
Goodness. No, I'm not quite sure I know what you mean. He's killing criminals?
On the right side of. Well, okay. Listen, he's an anti-masker like fucking Captain America. Okay.
Oh, I see. He's an anti-masker. You think?
That's where I'm heading with that. I'm basically the Civil War is basically Captain America being an anti-masker. That's what I've settled on. I don't know where you land on that, but
I hadn't thought about that. Like what the new Civil War. What its analog would be, because like at the time it was like this spurious thing about gun rights or gun justice or something like that, and I don't understand that fucking. Anytime we can talk about Civil War, I think we ought to.
I'm always interested in talking about Civil War. What a barn burner.
Yeah. That's when like you can have lots of nerd talk, you can have lots of this, that, and the other talk. You can talk some Mark Millar.
You can talk some verses,
Yeah. All the shit you like, and then of course you can talk about Captain America.
Absolutely.
Who is the subject of today's discussion? Specifically, Ed Brubaker's Captain America run. Not the entirety of it, but I would say like the first half of what's called Captain America Volume 5.
Yeah, meet Ed Brubaker and Steve Epting.
Yeah. So these comics they came out 2005 to 2006, I suppose. Like the ones that we're going to be discussing. We're going to go up to 14
I don't know.
Today,
I think 2007, but that might have just been when the trade paperback was released for the death of.
Yeah, I think so. The trade paperbacks came out like by then the trade paperback regime had been established, and so you got stuff quick.
Yeah, and I was fired up. This is actually I got this premiere edition of the Death of Captain America with a very nice like a custom laminated dust jacket.
Oh, wow.
Very odd Eisner Award winner here. I pulled it off the shelf. It smells weird,
Right.
Smell.
Yeah, okay. That's the smell of prestige, my friend.
That's the fucking book smell.
Yeah. So anyway, sometime between 2005 and 2006, maybe going into 2000. Captain America number 25, The Death of Captain America, came out March 2007. Or at least cover dated 2007. So, but we're gonna go up to like 14, right? Or I forget how far you read. How far did
I read right through The Death of Captain America.
Oh, fucking right. Okay, so we got.
I'm up to 30 or so. Yeah.
Oh, Jesus Christ!
I fucking mowed it down last night. It was good, man. I don't know.
Yeah, it's so good, right? Very easy to read. So I sat down and I read trade paperback on Hoopla.
yeah, it was fucking smooth.
Yeah.
This is like I'm gonna probably spend a little bit of time jerking off at Brubaker and Steve Epting here.
Rightly so.
But this is like this is it. This is a fucking comics work. This is something you can sit down and you like you lose yourself. You're not gonna look at fucking art panels and go, what the fuck? Except that one issue. We'll talk about that after.
Oh yeah.
And you were fucking. Let's just put a Scooby-Doo artist in. Anyway.
Okay. All right. We'll talk.
Sorry. Okay. Pause. Take that back. Anyway, I'm just gonna say it's just smooth. You lose yourself in the story because the dialogue's heavy. He's heavy with dialogue, but it's just his writing style. The conversations are organic. The villain conversations are organic. The artwork fits the work. Like it's just it's a good piece of work. Like, and it's up there for me.
Yeah. And even though the artists, like they flip around between, and by issue 30, let's see, I got the list here. We got mostly Steve Epting throughout. And then Michael Lark does a bunch of flashbacks in issue 2 to 5, 9, and 12. Issue 7 is not Jean-Paul Leon. I remember not liking those either, but I like Jean-Paul Leon. He does really good work and he does really bad work. He's kind of one of those guys.
Is it the guy that did the one issue?
Yeah, the lonesome death of fucking Shitty McGee. Yeah,
the lonesome Scooby-Doo of.
Yeah.
I couldn't read it. I stopped dead.
Me too.
You were like, skip it, and I was like, took a deep breath, and I was like, no, I'm rolling right now. I'm enjoying this book. I'm flipped back, and I'm like, obviously, Epting returns, so I can stomach this issue. And I went back and I read the first page, and I was like, I'm not, no.
Yeah, right.
It was that bad.
Yeah, we also get Lee Weeks and Mike Perkins, and the beauty of this book is
weird.
that
I didn't know that I didn't know that.
Yeah. And like, but again, it's flashbacks. Like you don't notice it because the flashbacks are stylistically different. And they're, I think one of the reasons that Stephen Epting can be so consistent is because he's doing, I don't want to say he's doing half the work, but he's he gets a little break in his schedule because there's so many flashbacks by other artists. And as a consequence, like, it's just you wouldn't think it'd be such a smooth production, but all those names, Jean-Paul Leon accepted, of course, fucking great. Like, this is all cylinders. Like, I bought all these issues. I read it breathlessly from month to month until Captain America died and came back. Like, the return thing, that's just fucking
I don't know. It was like the death of a superhero is the ultimate fucking just like, I don't know, just like, especially when you have this, I don't know, maybe he just finished what he had to say. But like,
but he kept going after that, and like,
that's so weird. Like, why would you do that? I just feel like you can just kiss your momentum goodbye. You're gonna drop half of your readers.
I remember it was fine as a story, like, because we're getting ahead of ourselves, but Bucky ends up being the new Captain America. And this isn't a spoiler for anyone because of the MCU, right? Like, this is the story about the Winter Soldier. This is the material that the Winter Soldier stuff in the movies is based off of. And like, it's pretty. I remember it being very good, and I kind of liked it. But the funny thing about Brubaker's Captain America run is if I remember correctly, it's running at the same time as Grant Morrison's run, which involves also the death of the major character who becomes trapped in time and is replaced by their sidekick. And like, it's the exact same, such like parallel development, and it's, they've talked about this. It just kind of happened, like two Top Gun movies happening at the same time.
What was he writing?
Who, Morrison?
Grant, yeah.
He's writing Batman. Like later on with the. I mean, I guess you probably haven't read all this stuff, but basically Batman goes through the exact same thing that Captain America does in this story. And like I said, Dick Grayson becomes Batman. Well, you've read that.
Yeah, I've got some pieces of that. That's the Batman and Robin run.
Yeah. So anyway, it's just weird parallels. And the parallel goes as far as, like, they both kind of peter out, like they go out with a whimper rather than with a bang. It's sad, because both of them went out with a fucking Yeah.
He went out with a huge bang and then came back.
Talking about Brubaker?
Yeah,
Yeah, yeah.
that's a bad choice. To me, it's a
Yeah,
bad
yeah.
choice.
Yeah.
I feel like you should just walk off into the sunset after you kill Captain America. You don't just like come back and start fluffing. It's weird.
Yeah. Well, it wasn't bad. It just kind of like you said, lost momentum, and I just got tired of it. And I think there's another reason. So I think this series up until issue 25 and probably even a little beyond that is very good. Maybe like I said, up until like the miniseries where Captain America flows through time and comes back. I think that stuff's all worth it. But one of the things I found frustrating on reread is this version of Captain America is very maybe appropriately, but like reactionary. Like he just reacts to things. He's lost in machinations that he has no control over and never gets a handle on, and never can get a handle on. Like he's always, and I find that sort of impotent Captain America I found it a little deflating.
That's fair. Like I'm actually watching him get his ass beat by Crossbones right now.
Mm-hmm.
While he has like crybaby Nazi flashbacks. Leave Bucky alone.
Yeah.
And then at the same time that's happening, he's like double the pussy. Because he's like crying in his dreams while Crossbones kicks the shit out of him, which is a real like. I don't know if there's any Crossbones fans out there. I really hope there isn't.
Well, except for us. I mean,
he's a fucking schlub, and I mean, I don't know. I don't think that it gives the story. He's a goon. He's a yes man and a goon with no real like. I shouldn't feel any danger for my heroes if he's involved in the plot, unless he's running down someone's wife or a little kid.
Yeah,
he's a piece of shit. Sorry, I don't know how else to put that.
No,
like,
I think
that's his fucking use.
Yeah, you nailed it. I think unfortunately though, like he is a major Captain America villain, and considering the stature of Captain America in the superhero universe, like why is it that the most fearsome, like this guy must be the most dangerous person in the world who can fight Wolverine to a standstill. Like he's not a super soldier, and like we know his origin story. He's a fucking greaser rapist, who happens to be really big, and yeah, it's like the incongruent. Like I just want to know why he's so like is. I think that like a good writer, someone out there has got to have written like a really good Crossbones story.
Oh, and I don't know.
And if not, like what the fuck, right, man? I think, but that's such a Captain America villain problem. Like think about the serpent. Like aside from Red Skull,
it's true. Like, actually, I was thinking of that scene where, Dr. Perverto, Faustus, Cuck Red Skull that's living inside Buddy's brain and wearing a rubber mask, and fucking computer screen body guy. We're all fucking having like a fucking evil clash of egos. This is the shittiest panel of losers I've ever seen in my fucking life. Like what danger do these guys pose? Like God, Captain America villains do have that sad sort of, apologies for not naming any of those people by their correct names.
Oh, that's fine.
It's not. You guys know who I'm talking about.
A lot of Arnim Zola fans out there, I'm sure, just fucking gnashing their teeth and ripping out their hair.
Yeah, they're like, son of a bitch.
Fuck, I love that guy with the. Anyway.
But anyway, yeah, and they gave Captain America the WWE kind of out. You know, he gets to save face when he gets his ass beat by Crossbones because he's being like, I guess, sort of manipulated by the cosmic cube, which is causing him to have like flashbacks at inopportune combat times. So he gets sort of a cheap out where it's like, oh, Cap could have beat him. You know, it's fine.
Absolutely, yeah. But the fact that he's still around in like Reds, like I don't know though, just the fact that he's still around suggests that Crossbones ought to be something, and all these people ought to be something, and they're not really much of anything. And it's kind of shocking to me that Brubaker manages to, because he writes it like a Tom Clancy airport novel. You really don't mind that the villains are stereotypical fucking Nazi goons. You're like, they don't have to have character. They
It's
just
true.
serve
It's true.
function. Yeah.
And they're like Brubaker's writing at a high level. Like they're
Yeah.
running a deep plot. Like they excused Iron Man from this story. I'm like, well, Tony Stark's involved. Why isn't he running right through these fucking assholes? And he's like, well, the fucking Cosmic Cube guy, a hostile took over my fucking company, and basically if I show up on the other side of this, I could bankrupt. You know? It's like he wrote him out in a fucking clever way. And I was like, okay, all right, man, you got me there. That's excellent. Like,
Yeah, I think that in a story like this, what's getting diffused in there? What's getting diffused is like the nerd, and you hear this from time to time in Batman comics or something like that. Like, I don't know who says these things, but fucking people say them.
some people say these things.
Some people say these things like, oh, well, why doesn't Batman just call Superman? Why doesn't, you know? And you're like, okay, well, that's not the point of comics, but still, this will silence such people. You know, like it is, it's unnecessary, but it's pleasing. It's pleasing to the nerd. And like, I'm not going to say, I'm not above that. I too was like, oh, okay, I get it.
Yeah,
You know,
well, you gave me a 1-page, cleverly laid out, and then you've excused Iron Man from the story after bringing him in for some fun.
And increase the stakes of the story. Like, just showed like this guy's a major, like, because there's billionaires in various universes and stuff, and like money kind of means nothing in a lot of these comics. Like, you know, Batman being a billionaire really doesn't really have anything to do with anything. Tony Stark being a billionaire, you very rarely get the impression, aside from him being on a yacht and sleeping with a bunch of ladies and being wild, that he's part of a global fucking infrastructure, you know, like economy. This book manages to give that sense of like not a real economy, but an economy to the world and to the Marvel universe, and that, you know, that doesn't happen often, and it's not hard to do, apparently.
No, and all of that does is it grounds the story in a little bit of false reality. Like, it takes the superhero piss out of it, and it puts me. And, you know, there's probably people I bet you there's people that didn't like this, but it's a bit more of a thriller. Like, it's a bit more.
That's what I'm saying.
It's a spy thriller. Like, I can't remember if you described it like a James Bond sort of airport novel, like a.
Oh, well, I was thinking of like a Jack Reacher or you know, something like that. But yeah, we'll put it in there. They put it with James
like a
Bond.
Military spy thriller sort of.
Yeah.
You know, but basically he's able to keep the stakes on the ground level with you and Cap, and he also like part of what he does is he, like you say about that sort of Cap impotence, is he diffuses the Cap a lot. Like, he makes him weak, he makes him reactionary, he makes him agitated. He's agitated about Sharon, he's agitated about Bucky, he's on his heels here.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. But he's still effective. Like, you never get the impression, like, even though I complain about him being ineffective, and he is ineffective, he's also like, you tend not to. Well, I straight up didn't mind. Like, I noticed it was happening, and I was like, well, that's kind of annoying and stupid, but Captain America is fucking awesome. Like, he's constantly doing like cool shit and like dealing with problems, and he's actually even kind of saying cool stuff. And like the it's kind of a meta thing, but when he's talking with Sharon about his experiences in World War II with the French Resistance, and it's kind of like, it's meta because it's kind of a reference to Mark Millar's "You think this A on my head stands for France?" This idea that Captain America would disrespect the French, for their, being a bunch of frog pussies, and Ed, and Ed's like, no, let's ground this in like something like historical reality. And what would Cap think of the resistance fighters in this instance? And he's got a respect for them, and so he's, and she comments, I forget that you're worldly, and he's like, I know, and but like the reader. But it's easy for the reader to forget like the potential worldliness of it of Steve Rogers, and I think this comic could have even gone further, because the Steve Rogers that exists in the Marvel universe is not only worldly with respect to World War II, but like he's fought in the Kree Skull War, like Operation Galactic Storm, like there's something like this guy's seen all the shit. He's been in the shit, and it's nice. Even if it's not as expansive as that, it's nice to see that character who leads the Avengers. Tony Stark respects him. Fucking Thor will follow him into battle, etc. I feel that this is Captain America.
Yeah, it's true. It's true.
Yeah.
And he just, and that's shown too by his, like you say, there's some like ineffective moments, but realistically throughout this story, he fucking succeeds. And he doesn't stop. He can't be stopped. He can't. He won't stop. Can't be stopped. He's not in any danger. No one can kill him. No one can stop him. And maybe that's part of the fucking meat behind his death was this run of this unstoppable guy.
Yeah, and then you got to put it in the context of Civil War and stuff like that. Like I do like how Brubaker couldn't have known that he's going to have to incorporate a crossover of that type and attitude and whatnot. Like bravo for, like, if he didn't know, bravo. If he did, it's still impressive. But like a seamless, like a textbook example of how you incorporate your major event, and particularly a major event in which you don't get to control what Captain America does, even though you write the Captain America book. Like, just to have that hoisted on, like Civil War, he's a fucking insane person in that goddamn book. He gets in a full body cast and won't quit, like it's fucking it's wild. And again, you don't even mind, like it. And then, like, did you read the I think it was a Brian Michael Bendis story where he, like, Iron Man's kind of crying over Cap's body?
No, I don't have that. I didn't have that.
That's okay. Well, that makes it sound a little more fucking pathetic than it is, but that's essentially what it amounts to. But it was pretty cool, man. Like this whole, they handled everything very well, despite the cartoonishness of Civil War. So that, I'm looking at that Jean-Paul Leon art right now. I know why you hate this. This is like, does not fit. It doesn't fit. Yeah, it's so dumb. It's all cartoony and like space, like
fucking Archie.
Yeah. Okay. Well, this is a good way to talk about Stephen Epting, though, because what happens? Here's my other complaint, and it's not a complaint really. I just like it's an aesthetic. I would like, maybe I have a different preference, right? It's such a dark book, and it's so dense. So Steve Epting is fantastic in this. Like, fucking top of the, Steve Epting is, like, frankly, I don't know if you feel the same way, but like he's an Extinction Agenda top 10 capital G guy who is unsung. And
I'm with you there. That's true.
Yeah. Especially as he ages and becomes better and better. Like, he did a great story with Garth Ennis, like on the Russian female snipers. Fucking great. And so anyway, but everything's really thick, though. He draws all the backgrounds. But unfortunately, when he draws all the backgrounds, you get a lot of, and this is from the script, but you get a lot of fucking red brick, steel pipes, weird walls, like dark skyscrapers, a lot, and then the colorist, it's a lot of black, it's a lot of gray, it's a lot of red. It's very oppressive, and then this adds to the tension of it and the quote unquote reality of it. It materializes everything, effectively, but I just like this is a heavy book. It reads
you're
light.
right. I'm
Light.
laughing because of the way the red brick.
Yeah.
And there's not. They're out in the daylight like once for like 2 pages.
Yeah, and even when Cap's gone to that castle where Bucky supposedly died, or where Cap died, and there's daylight, but then it's always like it's so shadowy, and then he immediately goes into some sort of Nazi fucking dungeon and walks around and has fucking hallucinations. Yeah, it doesn't allow, like, I kind of wanted to keep going to see when Captain America returns, does the light return? Is that going to be like, what is they're going to play that fucking game? I'm kind of curious, but I didn't read that far to find out. But.
Yeah, his fighting's like fucking animalistic by Epting here too. I'm just looking at this boardroom attack.
Oh, when he comes in and all those, like, him and Nick Fury like do the so Nick Fury is just gonna, like, we're gonna get this guy, the Roxanne guy. So we don't.
That's so weird too. Like they're literally in a building having a sketchy UN meeting with, like, basically what I can assume are like lobbyists and shit.
Yeah.
And they're basically being protected by mercenaries and militia, and then they gaslight Steve
and Nick Fury.
Like,
well, because the secretary,
these guys were gonna fucking kill them.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, they were coming in for a fucking wet work and are you talking about like Nick Fury and whatnot?
Well, the guys that are there.
Oh, I see what you're saying. Yeah.
Like
it's security, you know.
No, these guys were fucking killers. They're like little fucking Fidel Castro guys.
Yeah, but money talks, man. So that's one of the. Let's talk about who the villain is. Like, we haven't really. Maybe I don't want to talk about plot too much because, like, listeners, go read this comic and then come back and listen to our fucking.
Read the. I mean, the Winter Soldier's if you don't have this on your shelf, and shame.
Extinction agenda, shame. But basically, like, this old Cold War guy who, his motivation, I'm not quite sure. Like, he was sort of raised by a disillusioned Soviet.
He's just a KGB piece of shit.
Yeah, he's a KGB piece of shit who ends up in charge of a what was the word I'm looking for? It wasn't male. Like a modern oil. I was looking for the word. Like, he ends up like an energy concern. Like, he ends up working in like most oligarchs in Russia, ends up owning a bunch of oil and having a big corporation, like some of those KGB fucks that work with Putin. And so he's one of those guys. And but he's getting the drop on the Red Skull in order to get a cosmic cube. And it's a little you're like, how did this situation end up? But you don't really mind because, like, the fact that Captain America's main villain is Red Skull with a cosmic cube is kind of weird. Like, he's ultimately, like, Captain America's ultimate villain is not just Red Skull, but Red Skull who is omnipotent. Like, has some sort of power to, like, manipulate reality itself. That, like, he doesn't feel equipped to deal with that. In general,
Captain?
Like,
no, he doesn't. He doesn't really have like Nick Fury's, like, he's just a spy.
Mm-hmm.
And so he's just also not equipped to help. Like, he's not asking for help from Doctor Strange. Like, Nick can't do anything. He's like, you need a bunch of guys in a helicopter? Got your back.
Here we go.
Like,
and somehow,
that's useless in this kind of scenario.
Yeah, so you've got those situations, and like, somehow this through Red Skull's weakened, I suppose, but he's about to, like, return through, like, some sort of, like, apocalypse, basically like a terror bombing that's going to power up his omnipotent cube. Pretty fucking fucked up. And he's spying on Cap the whole time, keeping eyes on him and stuff. Like, you really get the impression that he's a very serious competitor. And but he makes a mistake, and he happens to get executed by this KGB fuck who has a little robot Bucky flown around there, the Winter Soldier. Spoilers: Red Skull used the last of the cosmic cube power to put himself in the mind of this KGB asshole.
Yeah, which was a great twist.
Good twist. Yeah, because Cap doesn't believe it. When the Red Skull's killed, it's like, nope, it's not real. I don't believe any of this shit.
Not him. Yeah. He doesn't believe anything that's happening. Actually, which turns into kind of like a funny shtick as it goes along.
Yeah.
Like Bucky. Nope. Not gonna be.
Nope.
That's not him. Fucking faked his voice. I don't know what I saw.
Yeah, but he does. But that tension between what he knows to be true and like his instincts to deny, because he's operated. And I think I like this version of Captain America for this reason as well. He has a cynicism that is like he's ultimately still very patriotic. He's not propagandistic in this, which is fine. I don't think that's required. Like, this is a post 9/11 Cap. For this particular story, I know in the past I've said that everybody should be propagandistic with Captain America, but this one kind of is. If it is, it's subtle. But he knows he's been dealing with Nick Fury. Like, his boss is Nick Fury, and so he's just like, no, I'm not going to believe fucking anything. All of you guys are liars. I don't know why. The only reason I'm in this is to save human lives. I put up with your fucking bullshit and lies because I just want to save lives. Like, that makes sense to me. That's a good place for Cap. It's not a great place for Cap, the leader of the Avengers, to be, but it's a good place for Cap, super soldier, to be.
Yeah. What do you think of Bucky? Is this the first time anyone? Is this the actual first ever Winter Soldier?
Yeah. Bucky was considered like Jason Todd for a while. Like, everybody just kind of decided, like, yeah, we're not bringing this back. Like, death is death. We're gonna, but of course, nerds are never gonna let anything go, and so this is the first attempt to bring back not just attempt, they brought him back, and successful. I question the wisdom and need for this story, but then so did Marvel editorial at the time, to be fair. Like, the editor of this book at this time, Tom Brevoort, has written about this, and the story was just good, right? And they were like, okay, fine. Like, in comics, people have resurrections. It doesn't have to be taboo, but what would have really sucked is if, like, a really shitty story brought back Bucky. They got some juice out of it, right? So it was worth it. What was it really worth it? I'm not sure.
I think so. I think the Winter Soldier is a pretty, like, I don't know, man. I think the Winter Soldier is like a staple now.
Yeah.
Like, after the movie and everything.
Yeah. I guess to that point, like, what does Bucky's death actually give to Captain America that he needs in order to be Captain America?
Nothing. I don't think. So. I think that more had to do with maybe, his Peggy or whatever, his relationship aging into an old lady and being unfrozen and having Nazi post-traumatic stress and all. Like, having a friend die, probably had a million friends die,
Yeah. Just since we're on the topic of Tom Brevoort, I want to talk about how, like, this guy at Marvel Comics in 2005 was the guy who made the good comics. He gave the Warren Ellis over to Invincible Iron Man at this time, so we get the Extremis stuff, and he's got Mark Waid doing Fantastic Four with Waringo. That's good stuff. That's a great run. I don't know. And also, actually, and just by the by, just Ultimates 2 Volume 1 came out at the same time that this run of Captain America was coming out. It was a weird time in comics.
It was a great time.
Well, it was a great time. Yeah, because you got Morrison. Like I said, Morrison's Batman run is coming out. These are I mean, there's a bunch of fucking shit, but there's good stuff. Anyway.
There's some powerhouse stories. Some
Yeah.
Did you notice there was Nazi zombies for like 2 pages for no reason?
Oh, when? It's been. I read this like 2 weeks ago. So
it was. Shit. Hang on.
Tell me where the Nazi zombies are. I think I know what you're talking about.
There was just a little.
Oh, I remember. Scene. Yes. Yeah. When
later in the book, issue 12.
Yeah, Cap's having a flashback about Bucky, and there's Nazi zombies, and it's Cap thinking about like whether or not. So the Winter Soldier is the brainwashed version of Bucky, and like kind of a zombie version of Bucky. So he has a flashback about Bucky's experience with zombies or whatever, and he's like, oh, I hope hope you know to kill me when that happens. Hey, Cap.
These freaking Krauts cut up their brains, Steve. This is sick.
Yeah, and that's like the dialogue's great in this. You're right. Early on you were talking about how the dialogue like is organic, and like I kind of hear the voices. Everybody stood out and was something.
Yeah, well, it's funny to look back to and be like, what the fuck Nick Fury is this?
Yeah.
I want my Sam Jackson Nick Fury.
That's interesting.
I'm really used to my Sam Jackson Nick Fury now.
Yeah. That's funny. I think, I don't know, maybe because maybe I read more early Nick Fury. I never replaced Sam Jackson Nick Fury in my mind. I don't even consider him Nick Fury. He's just Sam Jackson in the Marvel universe for me.
See, that's funny because like a lot of my I never read a ton of Nick Fury stuff growing up. I think it was more on X-Men. And maybe some cosmic stuff like some weird Adam Warlock shit and stuff.
Yeah.
So most of my Nick Fury stuff happened around the time of the Civil War when the Sam Jackson version was introduced, I think.
Yeah, and the Ultimates and stuff. And even during this, like I said, like the Ultimates 2 is coming out, and so that one's coming to the fore, and that's the one that's gonna make it, obviously. But I think this version of Nick Fury is like, I don't know what the story of Sam Jackson's Nick Fury is, but he's not a World War II veteran like the Cap. Like Nick Fury, for whatever reason, is also a man who has been alive. He's actually more old in a way than Captain America because he's not died at all. He's just been alive since World War II. And
that's a little weird.
Yeah, right. He's like this old Odin fucking guy. You kind of don't get that sense, but you do because he's so good at it. Like I'm gonna get this fucking guy. He doesn't have any cosmic powers. He's just like this old prick. And I like that. I think that's a good, like, of course that guy's Captain America's boss. Like, who else is Captain America going to be like, what does Nick think? That
who else is he going to have any respect for at all?
Yeah. Or not like command the attention of, right? Because I think that's another thing about Cap that ought to be present but isn't in this. And it's fine. It suits this story, but my Captain America is he's also the lead. I keep kind of harking to this, but he's also the leader of the Avengers, and he should have I think my favorite kind of. It's actually a Frank Miller story. It's Born Again, and it's the fine. And anyone who's read this, you'll know what I'm talking about. But basically, Frank Miller does this excellent thing where, with Daredevil, like the Avengers show up, but they're all in. It's like an Alan Moore thing where they all show up in kind of silhouette. And they're described in poetry. And so Captain America is like, well, I think I've even sort of accidentally been alluding to it, like with a voice that commands a god. He does this, and this, and Thor shows up with lightning, blah, blah, blah. And it's very good. It really shows the difference between Daredevil, stupid asshole, and the Avengers. And you don't like that character's not that mythological version of Steve Rogers. That's not here, and that's fine. But like I would like to have seen a little bit of it at some point. He never gets a really badass moment. Like his badass moment is holding some goon by the neck on top of a train, which admittedly is cool. And like basically threatening like suicide with him. I'm pretty sure I think I'll survive. Like
that was awesome.
it was awesome. Yeah. But
or there was another thing where he just jumped out of a plane and like downed a spacecraft and right in fucking the middle of New York.
Oh gosh, I do not recall. I'm sure that happened though.
Yeah, there's basically Sharon. They roll in on their flying Porsche, and he sees this like jet leaving, and he just jumps out of the flying Porsche and he downs this thing.
Yeah, he with just the like AIM guys in it, right?
Yeah, and then he mugs a bunch of AIM guys out in the street. Do you know how bad? It would not be good to get fucked up by Captain America.
No, and you're right, and I like this book does a fantastic job of that. Like this is a super soldier, and
he's coming at you, and you're fucking you're not like I promise you, none of these guys are the same after this. You have shattered faces. There's people must die.
Well, and that's another thing I like about this. Like, even Nick Fury's like, you killed two guys, like the terrorist guys, and he's like, what do you mean those terrorists?
Now we're talking.
Yeah, it just makes sense. Like, I find it very frustrating to think that like, I have like I don't know what am I even saying? I'm gonna say it. I don't have any patience for anyone who writes Captain America as someone who doesn't kill. Doesn't make any sense to me.
Yeah, like I mean, there's a reason for that mindset flowing through Batman comics, right? There's a distinct narrative. There's a morality play. The character needs that piece.
Yeah,
it's written in. But Captain America doesn't have that. He fought Nazis. He kills Nazis. He's a killer. He's a World War II veteran. He's seen death, and he knows that it costs lives to save lives.
Yeah.
And there's no reason to take that out of the story and have him fucking pussyfoot around and break fingers. That's not logical. You're getting hit in the face by that shield. You're probably dead.
Yeah. Yes, like he's definitely dead. You're lucky he doesn't chop your fucking head off. Like I think that's the only. There's a universe in which there is a universe in which I get the Captain America that I truly want, which is like it's a spy thriller, a propaganda piece, and an opportunity for ultra violence. Like Japanese ultra violence. Ah! I like someone out there has the special sauce, and one day 20 30 years from now the pebble that I'm throwing into the lake right now will ripple out and produce reality. This is on my spirit board, and it could happen, but it's not there now.
Yeah, like he's not concerned. Like when he leads in a mission, and there are militia, military men, terrorists, people that basically oppose his mission, they get attacked. And there's no regard for going back and seeing if they survived being hit by that fucking shield.
Yeah.
Or if they survived whatever fucking mugging a super soldier can give to you coming at you at like 35 miles an hour.
Yeah, and I think I don't need for this story we don't need the ultra violence. I
don't need to know they die, but I like that I can assume that probably some of them did.
Yeah. What do I don't know. What do we think of the way Cap dies in this?
It's cheap and frustrating. And it's appropriate. Like it's supposed to fucking handcuff you, right?
Yeah.
Or that's how I feel about it. I felt handcuffed. I felt robbed, and I felt like it was fucking cheap. But it was like it was needed. How are you gonna do it? How are you gonna do it? How are you gonna do it? You have to have a twist. You have to have an excuse. You have to have power dampener. You have to have shots from multiple directions. You have to have fucking mind manipulation. You have to have it all, to come up with an excuse as to how you killed this guy.
Yeah.
Even the narrative about how they're parading him around, like they fucking forgot who he is.
Yeah.
But that's a Civil War thing too, right?
Yeah. Well, and that gets back to Brubaker's handling it really well. But you can see a character. Kurt Busiek did kind of a version of this kind of story too, in Astro City: The Dark Ages, where the Captain America-esque type guy is basically led out, to his execution, but it actually turns out to be much bigger than it is. I've already said this in the past. Astro City: Dark Ages, or Dark Age, or whatever. That's a banger. That's the best Superman / Captain America story. One of the best. So good. But it's a thing you can do. Again, obviously good writers kind of gravitate towards that. Like, you take this patriotic individual who's a symbol of what is good within the nation, supposedly, and then have it be the case. Like, Civil War kind of makes him look like a fucking asshole, admittedly, but in this story, it's spun as Red Skull's manipulation. Society's turning on what's good. Like the rabid dogs against the true patriot.
Technically, I think Tony still looks worse in.
Oh, in the Civil War.
Civil War, yeah.
Yeah, I think so too. Yeah. Wait, yeah, we can talk about it a little bit. Why not? Right? Yeah, why not? But I still think like a whole episode could be devoted to the Civil War and maybe some of its offshoots. We can.
That's coming.
Yeah. Now that we're talking about it right now, like, that has to actually happen. We'll talk to Rev about that. I think what was the worst thing about the Civil War crossover is that it kind of ruined both sides. Like, Captain America came off stupid, and Iron Man came off stupid, and Mr. Fantastic came off as a fucking idiot. And you're like, well, why is this happening? How did this happen? Why are we stuck here with this? But yeah, so they recover it on this.
I like how Falcon can fucking spot a sniper from.
Yeah,
when it's the most effective assassin in the world's history.
Yeah,
he spotted him with a fucking goose.
Yeah,
and then this one here, a guy on foot is first to the sniper rifle. How the fuck?
Oh yeah.
Couple plot holes. Little mini plot hole there.
Couple little issues here. Yeah, that's fine. I mean, this is a high wire act. Nobody. It's really funny how everybody responds to a good Captain America run, because it's so rare. The last good Captain America run before this was Mark Waid's, and that wasn't very good. It was fine, but like, this is probably the finest, bestest Captain America run that will ever exist. I know that's like, we never say never, right? But like, what else do you do, man? I feel like you went to the moon, you jumped on it, you cooked an egg on it. What else is there to do?
Pretty much. Now Bucky does to Crossbones what I want.
Oh, yes, he does. He does.
That's what I was looking. Yeah. That's what Daddy was looking for. The real fucking beating.
Yeah. Yeah, that's after the And it's weird. Like most of this is like, does Red Skull kind of pseudo die again? He brings back his freckled daughter.
Yeah, I could have done without that.
Yeah, very, very
I didn't. It
strange.
was like this is fucking weird Harley Quinn shit.
Yeah.
Dr.
Oh, that's a good
Faustus
point.
says, remember. No.
Yeah. Yeah, that's kind of it's also kind of a little post Philip K. Dick in that, like, I don't know what goes on in hotel airport thrillers nowadays. Like, I don't read any of that fucking shit. And so maybe mind control and keywords and stuff is par for the course. I feel it isn't, though. I feel like something like that is very superhero, very, like, highfalutin, and like maybe a little Philip K. Dick in, like, you don't know what reality is. And maybe you're ultimately actually it's just Manchurian Candidate stuff, isn't it? Yeah, you don't need Philip K. Dick for that.
Manchurian Candidate.
Yeah. So yeah, Sharon just got Manchurian Candidated. It happens. It happens from time to time.
It happens to the best of us.
Yeah.
I like the underground fucking hangout of anti-maskers too.
Later on, or
why did all the people that stood up against the Registration Act, why were they all like schlubs?
Yeah, well, that's like again. Yeah, we'll have we got to talk about that. We'll devote an episode to that.
We'll circle back
question.
around.
Yeah.
You really got your Winter Soldier after the death of Captain America.
You did. And Sharon feeling, oh, you know what was a really nice move. Sorry to derail slightly, is like after Steve is killed, the super soldier formula leaves him.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, and he looks like he's from Auschwitz. Like he looks like a Holocaust victim on the table with the bullet holes in him and stuff. Like, but he also kind of a little stretched out, Messiah thing going on.
Yeah, the nice touch.
Yeah, very good.
And shocking too. Maybe like almost like unnecessary grotesquerie also a bit.
Yeah.
This book had some really shocking moments. Great. What was the Sharon resolution? I don't even think I got that. In my book, it doesn't even get you there.
Yeah, I think it
just gets you to Tony saying we got a problem. He figures it out, and then I'm at the end.
Okay. Yeah, and I don't recall. I don't think I got that far. I read.
You're like, I'm good now. If it's Tony Stark versus Sharon, I think I can pause.
Yeah. I ran out of. I didn't know how long you'd read, I guess. So I just got to 25 and I called it quits, and I kind of skimmed through what was available.
Yeah, so you're right where I was anyway at the end.
Yeah.
Winter Soldier is fucking awesome in this, though. He's just like, you know what? There's a lot of things I can't do. I can kill Tony Stark. I was like, oh, fuck yeah. How fired up can you get about something, Like that was a sweet moment for me.
I was like, the whole thing about this, what makes it especially work, it's not just this Winter Soldier stuff. It's a whole, like Bucky didn't exist until this series, and that's so weird. It's so weird that space just didn't get filled in by, like, asking simple questions like, why did this dumb fucking kid end up hanging around with Captain America? It's because he himself is a super badass. You get back to the early training camps, like, that's Bucky Barnes. He's the best fucking fighter I ever seen, and you see him just like palling or like just fucking goofing around with other men who are trying to attack him. Those scenes when he like goes under the wire, you like the secret of the war is that Bucky like softened the enemy for us, and you're like, oh Christ,
he did the things I couldn't do.
Yeah,
like fucking slit throats and stuff at night.
Yeah. And he just and that's why it makes no sense. Like this, I love that, because like war is fucking awful, and it's not I like that Steve's response is not like he did the things that I refused to do. it's the things that I couldn't do, because as a soldier, propaganda material, like I couldn't do those things, but it's not that I wouldn't, right?
Nice touch. Yes.
Yeah,
Yes.
yeah. And you're like, okay, all right, shit. Fuck. This guy's a problem.
I love that Bucky spanked the fucking Black Widow too. What a great sequence. Great fight sequence.
At the end?
Yeah.
Yeah. I
First
lost it.
First he did the judo trip, or the low leg sweep. As she's falling, he cracks her with an elbow and then comes back over with the old bionic arm. That's a fucking concussion.
Yeah. Yeah, it actually even shows her like she has a black eye later.
Yeah, she got mugged.
Who's that? I think this is Butch Guice maybe giving us this shit here. Oh boy.
Yeah, this is good work too.
Yeah. Yeah, it's different. It's a different, but it's still of a piece. Like, editorial knew who to hire for this. They knew not to put like fucking Mike Warango in some fill-in issue, putting aside Jean-Paul Leon. Leon, that's the thing about Jean-Paul Leon. He does art that is actually could be very consistent with this. And it's all the more shocking that he hands in that ultra cartoony bullshit stuff.
Yeah, like, was he not reading it? Like, is he too cool or something at the time to be like, oh, I don't think I'll even pay attention to what led up to this. I'll just do my own thing.
Yeah, I don't know. Can't say, but
Is he Frog? Is that?
What does he think? Yeah. Maybe that's it.
Cocky
fucking
fuck.
Cowards. Yeah.
Fucking son of a bitch. Probably smoking one of those little weird French cigarettes.
Oh,
I didn't need to see what came before. I'm an artist. Fuck off. Asshole.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay. Very nice. So do we got anything else about this? We got
I don't know. I think I think our ranting and raving pretty much lets you got to get there. You got to do it.
Yeah, man. Yeah, for sure. I'm like, I knew, like, I didn't take any notes on this, and because you know why? I knew I didn't need notes, because the enthusiasm was going to take care of everything. I was just gonna even if I forgot everything, I knew that if you started talking, I'd be like, I remember that. That was fucking awesome.
It's like these were on my shelf, and I just honestly I forgot. Like they've been there since whatever. Would you say 05, 07?
Yeah,
like that's when they've been sitting on my bookshelf since, and like almost 20 years, and just I know why now, and they're fucking awesome, and they're not going anywhere.
Absolutely. I kind of like reading through this. I kind of regret I had all the individual issues. I should just get the trades and just like kind of have that around.
Oh yeah, you can get a trade of that pretty easy, I think.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Oh, deluxe.
Winter Soldier, and
yeah.
Yeah, well, you can cut this off whenever. But what's your take on did you enjoy the Marvel Studios Winter Soldier?
Oh yeah, actually, yeah, we can talk about this. I did actually, but like, isn't that a Russo brothers thing? Like, I think I just like the Russo brothers. So
yeah, it was. Yeah.
Yeah. They did really well.
They did some heavy fight choreographing. He was fucking scary.
Yeah. It was whatever movies those guys did. They stood out as better than the rest. And so I like that movie. Like, it was kind of, I mean, they're dumb, right? But fuck, whatever. They're fun. They're dumb fun.
Yeah. Well, that one was better dumb fun than some of the super dumb fun.
I like how they even handled his fight against Captain America. Like, it worked. And that's, that's a commitment to making Captain America powerful and interesting, which is required for, I think it's appropriate to the character. In my universe, in my choice, like, no editor or director or anyone is ever going to present Captain America in a lesser light, because I just think that's inappropriate. It's probably Mark Millar. Mark Millar gave me that sense, though, of when he fights Giant Man, I was like, oh fuck, okay, that's Captain America. Like, this is what the Russo brothers brought. Like they were picking up on that Mark Millar energy, which makes sense because all the MCU stuff does, right?
Yeah, it's like this guy is able to roll in some cases he might not have a solution, but he can't be stopped. So he's gonna enter the action regardless and fucking work through it.
Is Winter Soldier the one where he not only is there the Winter Soldier coming back, but also like, I don't know, Nick Fury's doing some sort of weird Stark Tech thing where he's gonna create some net around the world or something, or is that an earlier movie?
No, that was an Ultron.
No, it was post Ultron, where like I just remember this meme where he looks up at something in Nick Fury's and he's like, "This isn't freedom."
Yeah, that's the same movie because they riffed the Civil War.
Oh yeah, okay.
They basically blended Winter Soldier and Civil War together in the one movie.
Okay.
And then they just made Bucky be the guy that killed Tony's parents to set off the fighting.
Oh Jesus. Okay, I remember now. Yeah.
Yeah. It was a good delivery. That was a good screenplay.
Yeah.
It was well done. You got everybody agitated. You dehumanized Bucky. You used Cap properly. Everything was the stars aligned for that.
Yeah. This in my recollection, this is one of my favorite ones.
I'd say it's probably one of the high points for the for screenplay and for combat action and stuff like that. But
yeah, good stuff. And then you got everybody showed up or whatever, but okay, I liked it. Yeah, I you're right. And now that it's been obviously, I don't know, obviously, but I haven't.
Oh yeah, it's not one you're gonna just be like, think I'll put that Blu-ray back in. Give
but
myself additional Civil War action.
Honestly, I might though. Like I often think about that, and maybe it's in this movie too, when he gets dropped off in that boat at the beginning. And just starts fucking running at super speed and fucking, but not super speed. Like it's like super, like preternatural speed. And he like takes off all those. He beats the shit out of all those guys on the boat, having jumped from an airplane and stuff. Like again, I don't know if that's this movie. Probably.
Yeah, it is. I think so. And he just there's something they just do a good job with it. And the funny thing about that movie,
he fights Batroc. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't watch that movie very often because it's heavy plot driven and it's dark as fuck, and Tony's fucking parents get like Batman executed by Bucky, and not really, the kids aren't really into that one.
Yeah,
they want to see the Hulk and shit. They don't want to watch Bucky execute a bunch of people and have some Cold War stories told.
Yeah. And so this is Brubaker's contribution to the MCU, and then like it probably shouldn't surprise me that it's my favorite of the bunch and the one that I think about the most. And if anyone ever asked me if I wanted to rewatch it, I think I'd say yes. Like I liked it. And yeah, so it's source material. Like it's Mark Millar. It's Ed Brubaker. It's all these guys. It's the Russo brothers' sense of energy and excitement and action and excellent cast. And got Frank Grillo, right? Fuck, does he play? Does he play who I think he plays? Crossbones.
Yeah, he does. Yeah.
Oh my goodness! Fucking perfect. Man, I didn't even think about that.
Yeah, and Frank Grillo's like a real G too, because he was all vocal on Twitter and in interviews and shit, because him and his agent were crying because Crossbones was supposed to get a better role.
Right.
And I was like, dude, you were in like 4 movies doing exactly what Crossbones does in every comic, just be a background piece of shit. So I don't know what you like.
I think we've I think.
Do I complain about Frank Grillo often?
No, we have in the past though, and I wonder, like, did we ever do an episode on Boss Level? That movie where Frank Grillo, it's basically Groundhog Day with Frank Grillo as a fucking killer. Or
no, but I watched most of it. I've watched that, man. And it's fucking excellent.
It's fucking great and it's got our boy. I don't mind saying it's got our boy Mel Gibson. and Naomi Watts. It's a fucking great movie. Like, man, go out there, watch that movie, man. This movie is more fun than it ought to be.
That's
just like Ed Brubaker's Captain America. Far more fun than it ought to be. It's like I'm not going to put boss level on the same level as Captain America, Ed Brubaker's Captain America, but I don't know. These are good comics. You should have these on your shelf if you like to look at comics art and you like to read good stories. Keep the caveats that we have in mind. Like, Cap's a little ineffectual, even though he's cool, and it's a little dark and a little it's a little much, but it'll be a smooth ride. You'll have a good time. You'll have a good time until you don't.
Yeah, and it's got that grit,
Yeah. Yeah, that Extinction Agenda grit. Is
that what that is?
Yeah, I think so.
Now, all we need is a little energon and a lot of luck.